Chosen one, anchor your spirit to what I am about to say right now. That restless feeling you have been carrying, the one that whispers you were made for something more, stop pushing it down. The enemy has been working overtime this week for one reason and one reason only. He knows you are finally awake. It all shifts now. The waiting, the wandering, the season of almost. But here is what you need to understand. This moment did not arrive because you stumbled onto the right page at the right time. This moment arrived because something inside of you finally stopped running from what it knows. Think back to that moment this week when you almost talked yourself out of this, when you almost scrolled past, when that voice in your head said you were too broken, too behind, too far gone for any of this to be meant for you. You did not know it then, but the fact that you are still here, still searching, still hungry, that was not desperation. That was readiness. And readiness just opened a door the enemy has been guarding for months. You did not find this recording by accident. The algorithm did not bring you here. The Most High did. This is a divine appointment that was written into the architecture of your life before you took your first breath. You are not stumbling. You are arriving. Stay until the very last word of this message, because in the next few minutes, I am going to hand you the exact decree that cancels the lie that has been keeping you frozen. I am going to walk you through the precise moment you shifted from wandering to being chosen, even if you cannot feel it yet. And at the end, I am going to give you the declaration that seals this new season open and locks the old one shut permanently. Do not leave. Your future self has been waiting at the finish line, begging you to cross it. If you walk away now, you leave before the verdict is read. I know what the last 72 hours have felt like. It has not just been quiet. It has been strange. Like the world has been moving around you while you stood perfectly still, watching, sensing that something was about to crack open, but not being able to name it. Maybe you had a moment yesterday where everything looked fine on the surface. The routine, the obligations, the familiar noise of daily life. But underneath all of it, you felt this hollow pull, like you were watching your own life from a slight distance, wondering when it would actually begin. Or maybe you woke up at 3 in the morning this week, and instead of going back to sleep, you just lay there in the dark with thoughts you could not silence, questions you could not answer, and a feeling in your chest that was equal parts grief and anticipation. You feel like you are standing at the edge of something enormous, and you are terrified it will pass you by again. In that space, the enemy has been planting a very specific lie. Listen to your own thoughts right now. He has been telling you that you are here because you are desperate, not because you are ready. He has been replaying every false start, every broken promise you made to yourself, every time you felt this close and then watched it dissolve. He has been pointing to that moment last week when you gave up on the prayer, when you closed the book, when you told yourself this was probably not for people like you. And he has been saying that is the evidence. That is proof that you are not truly chosen, that readiness is a feeling meant for someone else. But I need you to hear what the scripture actually says about this moment. Isaiah 43:19 says, "Behold, I am doing a new thing. Now it springs up, do you not perceive it? I am making a way in the wilderness and streams in the wasteland." Listen to that promise. Do you not perceive it? God is asking you a question, not making an accusation. Because the new thing has already begun, and the only obstacle left is your ability to receive it. The wilderness you have been walking through is not punishment. It is preparation. And streams do not appear in the wasteland to mock you. They appear because you survived the desert long enough to need them. The restlessness you feel is not a sign that you are lost. It is a signal that you are found. You are not at the beginning of another failed attempt. You are at the end of the last hard chapter. You thought that moment when you almost gave up was weakness. You thought the searching meant you were behind. But let me reframe your reality right now. That hunger was never emptiness. It was alignment. And the fact that you are here in this moment, with this message finding you, that is not coincidence. That is completion beginning to arrive. What you just experienced in that moment of recognition, that quiet trembling in your spirit that said, "This is it," that is not emotion, that is activation. And if something stirred deep in your spirit just now, you may be ready to receive the Chosen One's blueprint. This sacred guide reveals the 8 divine patterns behind your calling, your suffering, and your destiny. It also comes with the full audiobook, so you can absorb it during prayer, rest, or quiet moments with God. And for those called to speak His truth, you will also receive Activating Your Prophet Mantle, a powerful bonus ebook for those carrying a prophetic assignment. The link is in the first pinned comment, but only for a limited time. Now let me show you what has actually been happening beneath the surface of your life. For too long, you have been gazing at the surface, interpreting ripples as insurmountable waves, mistaking shadows for solid mountains. But there is a deeper current, a hidden architecture to your experience, an unseen process unfolding that holds the key to your liberation. Most people believe they are stuck because of what they lack. They lament the absence of tangible resources, the scarcity of nurturing relationships, the fleeting phantom of opportunity that always seems to arrive for someone else, or the right circumstances that never seem to align or arrive on time. And so they wait. They stand in quiet desperation, praying for the open door, their eyes fixed on a horizon that promises breakthrough, yet all the while they are standing in front of a formidable, imposing wall. They never realize that the wall itself is not an external edifice, a cruel twist of fate, or a systemic barrier imposed by the world outside. No, this wall, this silent sentinel of stagnation, was meticulously built from the inside, brick by painstaking brick. Every time someone with their unwitting ignorance or their deliberate cruelty told you that you were too much, too sensitive, too loud, too ambitious, too strange, you picked up a brick and placed it firmly into your inner fortress. Every time you internalized a failure, not as a valuable piece of instruction or a detour on the path to mastery, but as a core identity, an unchangeable definition of who you are, another heavy brick was laid, cementing a false foundation. Every single time you agreed with that insidious, echoing voice that whispered, "Who do you think you are to dream so big, to hope so audaciously, to desire such a radical shift?" You placed yet another brick, reinforcing the narrative of your own limitation. And now, you have been standing before this self-constructed barricade, calling it a closed door, a divine denial, when the profound truth is, you built it yourself without even knowing the quiet, often unconscious act of its construction. This was not born out of inherent weakness or a lack of potential. It was forged out of a primal instinct for survival, a desperate attempt to protect a vulnerable heart from further pain or disappointment. There is a monumental difference between being weak and building walls for self-preservation, and understanding that crucial distinction is precisely where your freedom, your truest liberation, begins to blossom. It is the moment you realize the master architect of your confinement has, in a strange twist of fate, been you, because here is what you need to profoundly see, to grasp with the deepest parts of your spirit. The invisible barrier keeping you frozen, stagnant, and tethered to a narrative of limitation has never been the external tapestry of your circumstances. It has never truly been the lack of opportunity, the absence of support, or the cruel hand of fate. No, the true impediment has been your unwitting, often unconscious agreement with the wrong version of your own sacred story. You have been dwelling, operating, and existing within a narrative that was not divinely inspired, but rather tragically written by the indelible ink of your wounds. It has been narrated with a constant low hum by the pervasive whisperings of your deepest fears. And most painfully, it has been edited, revised and rewritten by every single person who, in their own limited perception and perhaps their own unhealed brokenness, could not or would not see the magnificent, untamed, divine essence that God so carefully placed inside of you. Imagine living inside a house constructed from someone else's blueprints, a home not designed for your spirit's vastness, but for their narrow vision. Until that fundamental agreement is courageously broken, until you finally cease treating someone else's constricted, finite perception of you as your permanent, unyielding reality, that door remains locked, not from any external force, but from the inside, waiting for you to find the courage to turn the key. It's a key that resides within your own hands, hidden in plain sight, veiled by years of believing a lie. Think about Gideon, a figure whose story echoes across millennia, speaking directly to the heart of every soul who feels underestimated and unseen. When the majestic angel of the Lord found him, Gideon was not leading armies or prophesying from mountaintops. He was hunched, hiding in a winepress, clandestinely threshing wheat in secret, a furtive act performed to prevent the marauding Midianites from discovering his meager bounty. He was operating in a state of profound concealment, his potential drastically reduced, merely surviving beneath the immense weight and true magnitude of his own divine calling. He was a mighty warrior, but he was living as a fearful farmer. And in that moment of profound revelation, the angel did not speak to Gideon's present circumstance, to his fear, to his brokenness, or to his perceived lack. The angel did not say, "You poor, broken, hiding man, let me rescue you from your plight." No, with a thunderclap of divine truth, the angel declared, "The Lord is with you, mighty warrior." Gideon's immediate human response was to argue, to rationalize, to present a meticulously crafted case for his unworthiness. He pointed to the prolonged suffering of his people, the glaring absence of miraculous interventions, the overwhelming evidence that God had in fact abandoned them. He simply could not receive the powerful, life-altering declaration because he had meticulously built an entire identity, a deeply entrenched worldview, around the undeniable evidence of his perceived lack and his painful history. But the God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, the God who sees beyond the veil of human experience, did not respond to Gideon's evidence. God did not engage with his arguments of insufficiency. God responded, not to what Gideon was displaying in that moment, but to what he had already placed inside Gideon before Gideon could ever see it, before the world tried to diminish it. And that, beloved soul, is precisely what is happening to you right now, in this very instant. Heaven is not gazing at your last season of struggle, your latest perceived failure, or your current limitations as evidence of your permanent ceiling, your ultimate boundary. Oh no. Heaven is looking past the temporal, past the circumstantial, past the whispers of your past. Heaven is looking at the eternal divine deposit that was intricately woven into the fabric of your being before your very first breath, before time began for you on this earth. And with a voice that transcends all earthly noise, Heaven is calling it forth, summoning that true essence to rise and fulfill its sacred purpose. But here is where it goes deeper still, where the truth begins to unravel the very core of long-held beliefs. It is not enough, truly, to simply hear the pronouncement that you are chosen, that you are uniquely called, that you are destined for greatness. Because if the root of a poisonous plant is still intact, buried deep beneath the soil of your spirit, then no matter how much you prune the leaves or try to ignore the visible signs, the bitter fruit of misidentification will inevitably keep returning, manifesting in cycles of self-sabotage, stagnation, and unfulfilled potential. And the root, the real, tenacious, deeply embedded root beneath all of it, is not merely low self-worth, though that is undoubtedly a painful and pervasive symptom, a manifestation of the deeper issue. The true root is a misidentification so ancient, so intimately familiar, so subtly woven into the tapestry of your existence, that it ceased feeling like a deceptive lie a long, long time ago, and through sheer repetition and unchallenged acceptance, began to feel like the absolute, undeniable truth. You, in your unguarded moments, began to believe, with a chilling conviction, that the version of you that perpetually struggles, that consistently fails, that seems to get passed over for every significant opportunity, that broken, struggling caricature is the real you. And consequently, the magnificent, powerful version that is genuinely called, profoundly anointed, set apart for a divine assignment, that version, you concluded, must be reserved for someone else entirely, someone more polished, more articulate, more naturally gifted, someone whose journey seemed less fraught with visible scars, someone, crucially, who did not carry your particular brand of broken, your specific history of disappointment and struggle. You convinced yourself that your unique trials disqualified you, when in fact they were precisely the forge for your unique strength. And what is coming next will likely surprise you, perhaps even shake the foundations of some long-held assumptions, because this is the profound and uncomfortable part that most people are simply not ready or willing to confront head-on. That deep-seated misidentification, that false narrative of who you are, did not simply materialize out of thin air, a spontaneous self-deception. No, it was handed to you, often subtly, sometimes overtly, but always insidiously. It was a package delivered by a system, perhaps societal norms that demand conformity, educational structures that stifle individuality, or cultural expectations that prioritize fitting in over standing out. It was shaped by a pervasive family pattern, a legacy of limitations, fears, or unspoken rules passed down through generations, like an ancestral hand-me-down garment that never quite fit, but you wore nonetheless. And most profoundly, it was influenced by a spiritual atmosphere, an unseen force that had a significant vested interest in keeping you small, silent, and safely tucked away from your true power. For the enemy, that ancient adversary of your soul and your purpose, does not waste his precious energy fighting what is not, in essence, a profound threat. Therefore, the very level of relentless warfare you have experienced in your life, the unexpected setbacks, the crushing betrayals, the seasons of inexplicable resistance, the consistent feeling of being under siege, this is not, I repeat, not evidence that you are cursed, or somehow intrinsically flawed, or abandoned by a benevolent creator. On the contrary, it is the most undeniable, irrefutable evidence that you are carrying something so potent, so world-changing, so divinely significant that the enemy absolutely cannot afford to let it break through, cannot allow it to be fully expressed. A person with no divine assignment, with no significant calling, with no inherent threat to the kingdom of darkness, simply does not attract that kind of sustained, ferocious, targeted opposition. The precise size and intensity of the battle you face is always, without exception, proportionally equal to the immense weight and transformative power of the calling that rests upon your life. And so, if your life has felt like an unrelenting war, a constant struggle against an unseen current, if genuine peace has often felt like a foreign language, a beautiful melody you hear only faintly from a distant land, it is not because you are losing the battle. It is because you are, without a shadow of a doubt, a profound and potent threat to the status quo of darkness. And threats, divine instruments that they are, do not get destroyed. They cannot be annihilated. They can, however, be delayed through frustration. They can be distracted by endless noise and trivial pursuits. They can be deceived into believing they are powerless, into standing down from their true position. But they do not, cannot, will not get destroyed. Your essence is indestructible. And once that profound truth clicks into place, once that illuminating revelation settles into the very core of your being, everything shifts. The lens through which you perceive your entire existence changes irrevocably. Because now your past takes on an entirely new meaning, a richer, more profound significance. The betrayals that once felt like jagged knives piercing your trust, the crushing losses that left you gasping for air, the desolate seasons where you cried out to the heavens and they felt as unyielding and silent as brass. None of that, not a single moment of it, was divine abandonment. It was, in a miraculous alchemy, armor. Every single wound that did not succeed in utterly destroying you, every heartbreak that you managed to survive, every moment of despair that you navigated through the valley of the shadow was actively calibrating something vital within you. It was forging an inner strength, a spiritual resilience, a depth of character that simply could not be manufactured or refined in any other way. You cannot artificially manufacture profound depth of spirit. You cannot produce authentic compassion in a sterile laboratory, mixing ingredients according to a formula. You cannot truly teach someone to carry the heavy burden of another person's pain, to truly empathize with their deepest suffering, unless they themselves have intimately carried their own unbearable sorrow and emerged on the other side. The profound suffering you have courageously endured was not, as you once feared, a tragic detour from your divinely ordained purpose. No, it was the essential, rigorous, and often brutal curriculum for it. It was the masterclass taught by life itself, preparing you for the very assignment you were created to fulfill. Each scar is a testament, a badge of honor, a living lesson in resilience and empathy, equipping you to serve in ways the unscarred never could. Stay with me now, for what I am about to share next is not merely insightful, it is the precise, pivotal point that holds the power to definitively break the tenacious cycles of stagnation and unfulfilled potential that have perhaps plagued your journey thus far. Most people, when they finally feel this undeniable stirring in their spirit, this profound moment of recognition, this deep inner resonance that signals a pivotal shift, they typically respond in one of two predictable, yet ultimately self-defeating ways. The first group, fueled by an almost desperate urgency, a thirst for immediate change, will run headlong toward this new awakening with such frenetic energy, such unbridled enthusiasm, that they inevitably burn out, their divine spark extinguished before the true seed of their calling has even had a chance to take root and flourish. They mistake frenetic activity for purposeful movement. The second group, by contrast, will stand absolutely still, paralyzed by an inherent fear of misstep, waiting patiently, or perhaps impatiently, for a sign so overwhelmingly clear, so utterly undeniable, so precisely mapped out, that absolutely no faith, no courageous leap of trust is required to follow it. They demand a fully illuminated path before they will take a single step. And critically, neither of these common responses truly honors what this sacred moment, this divine invitation, is actually asking of you. Because what heaven is requiring of you right now is neither reckless urgency nor passive, disengaged stillness. It is something far more profound, far more courageous, far more deeply aligned with the divine flow. It is obedience in motion. It is the conscious, intentional, and courageous act of taking one single aligned step forward, even while the entirety of the full staircase before you remains completely invisible, shrouded in the mists of the unknown. It is the very essence of what the patriarch Abraham did when he was called to leave his comfortable, familiar home in Ur. He departed, not knowing his ultimate destination, not possessing a detailed itinerary or a clear map. His movement was not born of recklessness or naive abandon. It was born of an unshakable, profound trust in the one who was leading him, a trust that far superseded any comfort he found in the known, the predictable, or the visible. His faith was not a belief in a visible path, but an unwavering belief in an invisible guide. You have, perhaps unconsciously, been waiting for the complete panoramic picture to be unveiled, for every single detail to be perfectly illuminated before you dare to move even an inch. But the profound truth is this: the picture, the masterpiece of your divine destiny, is only fully completed by the movement itself. The intricate map of your journey, the divine strategy for your next steps, does not magically appear in its entirety until you, with courageous intentionality, take that very first step. It is a walk of discovery, not a discovery of a pre-existing, fully formed map. And the particular brand of faith that is required to unlock the next glorious chapter of your life is not the comfortable intellectual faith that believes only after it has seen, after all the evidence has been neatly laid out before its eyes. No, it is the audacious, spirit-led faith that moves, that acts, that takes that courageous first step long before any tangible, undeniable evidence of the path's validity has arrived. It is a faith that declares, "I will trust the path of the unseen," rather than, "I will only walk where I can clearly see." And this profound insight leads us directly to something most people sadly miss entirely, a subtle deception that keeps many tethered to their past. There is a persistent voice you have been listening to, an internal dialogue that, on the surface, sounds utterly reasonable. It presents itself with the gravitas of wisdom, the measured tone of sound judgment, and the convincing logic of discernment. But let me be unequivocally clear: it is not true discernment. It is, in fact, fear, wearing the meticulously crafted costume of wisdom, donning its cloak and mimicking its cadence. This voice, disguised as a protector, calculates every conceivable risk, cataloging them with meticulous precision. It relentlessly reminds you of every previous failure, every misstep, every time you stumbled or fell short. It constructs a thorough, meticulously detailed, and utterly convincing case for why this time, this audacious dream, this new possibility will be no different than all the times before. It passionately argues for why you absolutely must protect yourself from potential pain, why you should guard your heart, why hope itself is a dangerous, fragile commodity best avoided. And because it sounds so eminently logical, because it shrewdly leverages your own intimate memories, your own deeply felt pain, and your own past disappointments as its irrefutable evidence, you have, understandably, been treating it as undeniable truth. You have allowed it to be your guiding compass. But here is the stark reality. Protection without forward movement is not a form of safety. It is merely a slower, more agonizing kind of dying. It is the slow decay of potential, the quiet suffocation of destiny, and the voice that promises to keep you safe inside a life that was never divinely built for your unique spirit, a life that feels like a constricted, ill-fitting garment. That voice is not, in fact, your friend. That voice, dear one, is your prison guard, cleverly convincing you that the bars are there for your own good, that the walls offer protection, all while diligently keeping you from your true freedom. True discernment, authentic spiritual wisdom, does not begin by trying to hear more voices or gather more information. It begins, powerfully and decisively, with the radical act of silencing what should not be speaking in the first place, liberating yourself from the tyranny of fear's deceptive whispers. Now, Here is where we must courageously step into territory that is inherently uncomfortable, a landscape of profound self-reflection that many instinctively recoil from. And I implore you, with every fiber of your being, to stay open, to keep your heart and mind receptive, because this very confrontation, this unflinching gaze into the mirror of your soul, is the precise moment, the critical turning point that unlocks the door from the inside, swinging it wide open to your true destiny. The thing that has been most stubbornly blocking you, holding you captive in a cycle of stagnation and unfulfilled potential, is not ultimately the external enemy, though spiritual forces certainly play their part. And it is not primarily your past, though its echoes are undeniably potent. And it is not even, in the deepest sense, the people who have hurt you, as real and excruciating as that pain has undoubtedly been. The most insidious and powerful thing that has been blocking you is a deeply entrenched, often subconscious, secret loyalty. A profound and unwavering loyalty to the very version of yourself that suffered, that was wounded, that endured immense hardship. Because that version, that identity born of pain, is known. It is intimately familiar. It has been your constant companion through years of trials, a shadow that has walked beside you. And on some profound, almost primal level, you have meticulously built an entire inner world, a complete self-concept around that very identity, the one who was perpetually overlooked, consistently misunderstood, chronically underestimated, and repeatedly dismissed. And as painful, as devastating as that identity has been, there is, paradoxically, a strange, almost magnetic comfort in the familiar. There is a deceptive sense of safety, a perverse security in clinging to the known story, even when that known story is, in its essence, a meticulously constructed cage, keeping you from the expansive freedom you were meant to inhabit. It's the familiar ache of a phantom limb, a pain you understand better than the bewildering sensation of wholeness. Leaving that deeply ingrained familiar identity behind does not, counterintuitively, feel like immediate freedom at first. Oh no. It feels in its initial disorienting phase like an immense and profound loss. Because the terrifying existential question immediately arises: who are you, truly, without the profound wound that has so intricately shaped you, that has perhaps defined your entire perception of self? Who are you without the relentless struggle that has, for so long, felt like the very essence of your being, the core narrative of your existence? And that question, that terrifying, disorienting, and deeply unsettling question, is precisely what has been standing as an invisible yet impenetrable barrier between you and absolutely everything God has been tirelessly trying to hand you, trying to release into your life, trying to call forth from your spirit. It is not the enemy's direct attack. It is not the inescapable grip of your past. It is your deeply ingrained, secret loyalty to a version of yourself that God, in His infinite wisdom and boundless love, is now tenderly yet firmly asking you to lay down. It is time to relinquish the old narrative. Think of the poignant story of the man at the pool of Bethesda, a narrative that vividly illustrates this profound spiritual truth. This man had been lying there, an inert figure, for 38 agonizing years. 38 years confined to the same unchanging location, telling himself the same lamentable story, clinging to the same deferred hope that the waters would stir and he would finally be made well. His entire identity, his self-talk, his interactions with others revolved around his condition and his waiting. And when Jesus, the very embodiment of divine compassion and power, stood over him, the question he posed was not, "Do you want healing?" That would have been too simple, too focused on the symptom. The question Jesus asked with an almost unnerving precision was, "Do you want to be made well?" Because there is a world of difference between the two. Healing, though a wondrous gift, primarily addresses the external wound, the physical ailment, the visible symptom. It brings relief to the pain. But wholeness, a far more expansive and transformative concept, requires something infinitely more profound from you. It demands that you actively pick up your mat, not just be healed on it, but to take ownership of your very next movement, and to intentionally walk away from the limiting physical space, the stagnant environment, and crucially, the deeply ingrained identity that has held you captive for decades. Jesus was not merely inquiring about the state of the man's physical body, which was clearly broken. He was probing the depths of the man's spirit, challenging his entrenched worldview, asking about his profound willingness to release the entire identity, the complete internal and external narrative he had so meticulously built around his long-standing condition. He was asking if the man was ready to let go of the familiarity of his brokenness. And what I am asking you right now, in this very sacred and pivotal moment, is that very same transformative question. Do you truly want to be made well? Not just healed of the obvious symptoms, not just relieved of the surface-level pain or the circumstantial burdens that have weighed you down, but do you desire to be made truly whole in your core identity, whole in your deepest understanding of who you are at your essence, and whole in your crystal-clear apprehension of what you were uniquely sent here to divinely do? Because if the answer to that question is a resounding yes, and I believe deep in my spirit that it is because you are still here, still listening, still seeking, still sensing the stirring of activation within you, then what comes next requires a radical, core, aegis act of release. It requires you to decisively release the mat, to consciously stop explaining yourself, your current circumstances, or your future potential with the worn-out, limiting language of your past, to cease introducing yourself, both to others and, more importantly, to your own inner self, as someone who has simply been through too much, waited too long, or missed too many precious chances. That narrative, that self-definition, that entire limiting story, that is the mat. And the time, beloved soul, is now. It is time to pick it up, to leave that old identity behind, and to boldly walk forward into the glorious, expansive future that has been patiently waiting for your arrival. Your liberation awaits your decision. But there is one final illuminating layer to this profound spiritual unveiling. And this, perhaps more than any other insight, is the one that possesses the power to fundamentally change everything you thought you knew about your journey, your struggles, and your ultimate destiny. The most unexpected, the most counterintuitive, and yet the most liberating thing about this moment you are experiencing now, about this nascent awakening, this profound arrival, this undeniable shift you have been sensing deep within your spirit, is that it was never, not for a single moment, about God trying to transform you into something you are not, or forcing you to become an entirely new person. No. Every season of intense stripping, every moment of profound silence that felt like abandonment, every single night you lay awake wrestling with doubt, wondering in the dark if God had somehow forgotten your name, overlooked your plea, or lost your address in the vast cosmos. None of that was God painstakingly building you into a new creation. All of it, every single agonizing, refining, and deeply uncomfortable experience, was meticulously designed by divine hands to dismantle, to deconstruct, to gently but firmly remove everything that was never authentically you to begin with. It was the careful, compassionate demolition of the false self, the carefully constructed, performed self, the self that was painstakingly assembled brick by brick out of a primal need for survival, out of the crushing weight of other people's expectations, and out of the paralyzing fear of rejection and abandonment. That, my dear friend, is what was actively being removed, systematically stripped away, and tenderly unraveled. It was not your sacred purpose that was being denied or taken away. It was your pretense. It was not your divine calling that was being extinguished. It was your camouflage, the elaborate disguise you wore to navigate a world that seemed too harsh for your true essence. What is now being revealed, what is finally majestically surfacing after all of this stripping, all of this dismantling, all of this profound and often painful internal excavation, is not a new, improved, or polished version of you. It is the original version, the pure, unadulterated, magnificent blueprint of the self that existed perfectly, flawlessly, in the infinite mind of God before the world, with its pressures and its pains, ever had a chance to try and edit it, to diminish it, to distort its inherent beauty. It is the self that was never, ever truly broken, only deeply buried beneath layers of trauma, expectation, and fear. And buried things, when they finally find the courage and the divine timing to rise, do not rise quietly, timidly, or apologetically. Oh no, they rise with the undeniable resonant authority of absolutely everything they endured, every trial they overcame, every challenge they transformed in order to finally break through to the surface, to reclaim their rightful place in the light. This, then, is not merely the beginning of a new chapter in a story you have been reading. This is the first chapter, the very genesis, being read anew by someone who has finally, profoundly, and irrevocably come to understand the ancient, sacred language in which it was originally written. You are remembering who you always were. Place your hand on your heart and declare this with me. I release every false version of myself that was built by pain and not by purpose. I break agreement with every lie that used my wounds as evidence against my calling. I release the mat. I release the familiar suffering. I release the identity that was never mine to carry. I receive the original design, the one written in heaven before my first breath. I step into this season with open hands and an aligned spirit. I am not behind. I am not broken. I am not too late. I am exactly where I am supposed to be, arriving at exactly the right moment. The new thing has already sprung up. I perceive it. I receive it. And I walk forward in the full authority of who I was always meant to be. This is my season. This is my moment. And I will not leave this threshold. I will cross it. In the name of the Most High, it is done.